In our gospel today, we're invited into an intimate moment shared between Jesus and God the Father as Jesus prays that we all might be one. That we all of humanity might be one. And I think sadly, in what we've seen in the news the past few weeks, the past month, we're reminded that that remains an unanswered prayer, as we still struggle to find equality, to find harmony, to find peace in our human family. And we're reminded of how much of a struggle it still is. We see these staggering numbers, even here in Baltimore City, at how much more affected the African American and minority communities have been by the coronavirus as opposed to white or more affluent communities. We've also seen in the news 3 stories of people who have been the victims of injustice. We could even say the victims of racism. A man was murdered going for a jog because he looked like someone who may have committed a crime. Another man was killed as a result of police brutality. And then a third man was framed basically in a park by a woman who didn't want to have to put her dog on a leash. These incredibly painful stories remind us of the even more painful reality that racism is still alive. It still exists. And this prayer of Jesus that we might all be one has yet to be answered. But as Jesus continues that prayer, he turns from God the Father to his disciples. And he says to them, "As the Father has sent me, so I now send you." And I think that's true for us today. Jesus is sending us into the world to make it a more just place, a more loving place, a more peaceful place, a better place. And so I think we have to take that seriously. When we hear, whether it's from a friend, a relative, or someone we don't even know, when we hear a racist joke, we've got to stand up and say, that's not funny. It's not right. And I'm not going to listen to it anymore. When we see someone being cast aside or treated as disposable or being judged because of the color of their skin or the choices that they make in life, we've got to stand up. We got to say, that's not right. That's not how we're created to be or who we're created to be. We're together. We are one family. I think, in the church, we believe that there are certain rights and responsibilities that we all share as human beings. And, the greatest right that all human beings have is the right to life, the most basic fundamental right. And I think the biggest responsibility that we have as human beings too is to make sure that everyone gets to enjoy that right to life. This means everyone, even when it's not comfortable, even when it hurts to stand up and to stand up alone. So I think as we sit with this awesome prayer that Jesus shares with the Father today, it's an opportunity for us to recommit ourselves to the work, to being sent into the world so that we all might be one. That Jesus' prayer might be answered in us and in the way we treat each other, the way that we hold each other accountable, and the way that we build a more just, a more loving, and a more peaceful world.